lean back and enjoy her journey.
Thank you, everybody, and welcome. And I'm just going to say a few words up the front, and then that's all you'll hear from me, and then you'll hear from other people. I'd like to, begin by saying thanks for coming. I'd like to acknowledge that we meet tonight on the unceded lands of the Kaurna people, and I pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. Please welcome the wonderful Gemma Phillips. And the wonderful Lauren Henderson. My name's Dave McAvoy. So a lot of family and friends here today, a lot of people we've known for a long time. I'd also like to just pay a couple of particular thank yous very quickly. One to Nancy Bates, who was actually, who's here tonight and is a wonderful performer, composer, etc., etc. I think I don't need to go into any more detail, but just to thank Nancy. I would also like to say to anyone watching online, which could include my 22-year-old daughter Izzy, if you're out there, Izzy, hello. Plus other people, perhaps, and to the time travellers that might be joining us from the future and watching the live stream retrospectively, which could include my 20-year-old son, Will, who was also at the rehearsal last night, wasn't he? He was. So I think there's lots of special people in the room tonight. There's one particularly special person in terms of this project, and that's my mother, Angela, and she is sitting at the back there with my brother and with Barry. So this project, so before I go on a bit there's one thing I wanted to sort of let you know, is that some of the material tonight could be potentially triggering for people. So if anyone feels at any time that they'd like to remove themselves to a safer space, please feel free to do that. This project, the music and the performance tonight are based on my mother's story. As I said, Mum's over there. I interviewed her on her porch about 3 months ago, not to do with this project at the time, but it turned out that that's the way it fell into place. But at the time it was just because I wanted to know more about her journey from London to Tasmania in 1958. And so the recording that I did on my iPhone that day has kind of formed the basis for tonight's performance, and the music's been written around it. So a lot of the text is actually in Mum's voice and literally her words quite often on the whole. And the music and the lyrics to the songs are written by me, and they're my reflections on the story that I've heard. There's a short excerpt as an opening prelude of a poem by, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this properly, but an Indian poet called Sarojini Naidu. She is one of the world's best poets, I discovered. I shouldn't digress. Okay, so Mum's journey is part of an enormous puzzle. That's the way I sort of see it. Hers is the story of an 11-year-old girl getting on a ship in 1958, but it is also part of a much bigger story, and that is a story of 130,000 odd kids that were sent from former British colonies from the 1920s to the 1970s, in that 50-year kind of period, many of whom were told they were orphans, only to later discover that they had a mother. It's the story of institutionalised care. It's the story of an emigration program that was set up in Britain in part to boost the white populations of the colonies, of the British colonies. Without further ado, we will begin.
Once in the dream of a night I stood, lone in the light of a magical wood, soul deep in visions that poppy-like sprang, and spirits of truth were the birds that sang. And and spirits of love were the stars that glowed, and spirits of peace were the streams that flowed, in that magical wood, in the land of sleep. How do you know where to fall when you don't know where ground is? And how do you find words to say when you don't know what sound is? All these years and still so small, we don't know where we'll fall.
Mum had decided she wanted the best for us. I was 10 and Chris was 5. And Dad had died about 12 months before, so Mum was a widow. And we were semi-orphans. Mum thought coming to Australia would be good for us. It's fresh air and healthy living. It's a better lifestyle. We were taken to the Fairbridge Society in Kent. Beautiful English countryside. It was a huge building. The Fairbridge Society were taking us to Australia on a ship. And Mum would be coming later. Well, she'd be coming on another boat. Just need 8, 9, 10, darling. That's all. Beautiful.
How do you like the bands? I wrote that.
I have to play piano at a Dave McAvoy gig. What the fuck? Floating around in an ice cream ocean, lollipops and spinning tops, candy floss and hopscotch, feet off the ground, my life's in motion, swimming on the waves, the salt, the sun, the fun, the days are endless, shining bright with sunlight. Oh, I was a great fun-loving kid, you know. I loved the adventure of it all. You know, at 5 o'clock, they used to have the early dinner. You'd go into this great big dining room, and around each of the tables was a bit of a ridge, so that, you know, if the boat was rocking too much, the stuff wouldn't fall off in your lap. And there was a menu, and you could choose anything you liked. Entrees, main courses, desserts. I was in seventh heaven. And I had free range on that boat. I could sit in deck chairs, I could throw quoits. The thing I loved the most was the swimming pool. And I was usually there on my own. But when the boat was rocking, I would get up the shallow end and these great big waves of water would whoosh down to my end of the swimming pool. And I got whooshed up. And then the boat would rock the other way. Floating around in an ice cream potion, lollipops and spinning tops, candy floss and hopscotch, feet off the ground, my life's in motion, swimming on the waves, the salt, the sun, the fun, the days are endless, shining bright with sunlight. Thank God she's off the piano now.
I'll sort it out.
But on the way to Australia, we stopped at Bombay and Colombo. And we got off the ship and we were taken on a trip. My God!
That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. It's like one of those reels. It's like one of those old piano reels.
I don't even know how to fix it.
We don't, it's fine.
We were walking along and there were these beggars following us. They were little kids asking for money. There were beggars on the side of the road too, with deformed legs and deformed arms. Children, probably younger than me. And we were told that some had been deliberately deformed by their parents to make them income earners. That was a turning point for me. I'd come from a plush little boarding school, and it really hit at home to me that people on the planet weren't all the same.
We have a system. We have a system. We have a system. We have a system.
Follow the rules. We will look after you.
We have a system.
Follow the
We have a
rules.
system.
Everything's in order. Everything's in order. Everything's in
We will look
order.
after you.
Everything's
Follow
in
the
order.
rules.
Everything's
We
in
have a system.
order.
We will look
Everything's
after
in
you.
order.
We have a system.
Everything's
Follow the
in
rules.
order. Everything's in order. Everything's in order.
We will look after you.
Everything's in order.
We have a system.
Everything's in order.
Follow the rules.
Everything's
We have a
in
system.
order.
We have a
Everything's
system.
in order.
We have a system.
Everything's in
We have a
order.
We will look after you. Follow the rules.
Everything's in order.
Follow the rules. Follow the rules.
Order. 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 Everything's in.
We have a system. We have a system.
We will look after you. We will look after you. We will look after you.
We have a system. We have a system.
Follow the rules.
We have a system.
Everything's in order.
We will look after you. They took our clothes and our toys and they gave us uniforms. Horrible military style stiff clothes with blue and white stripes.
Everything's in order.
And I've got a photo of us in our new clothes looking totally miserable.
We have a system.
They took my
We have a
dolls.
system.
I don't know where they went. I never had them anymore.
Everything's in order.
We have a system. We have a system.
We got off the big ship and onto a little boat to Tassie. And they took us to a big house in the country. This is just where the story gets
In order.
a little bit unpleasant.
In order.
It gets dark. There were 11 girls and 3 boys. And I was in a room with the girls. And Chris was in a room with the boys. Mr. and Mrs. Richmond were in charge of us. They were harsh. They didn't have kids of their own. Mrs. Richmond was like a chattel. She just did her jobs around the place and she had buck teeth. I used to dribble a bit from the buck teeth. She was horrible. She didn't have a personality. No care. Nothing. It was a non-person. Like a blank page. I remember the first night they told us about the billabong. And I remember lying in bed listening to the frogs and thinking, oh, Mum's on the other side of the world.
Everything's in order. Everything's in order. Everything's in order. Everything's in order. things in order.
Mr. Richmond was a psychopathic, psychological torturer. He didn't ever touch the girls, but to the boys, he was awful. We all had jobs. Mine was easy. It was dusting the banisters. Chris would have been 6 by then. Still a little boy. Mr. Richmond used to make him rake up the autumn leaves under the tree. When he was finished, Chris would come in and he'd say, "Done it, Mr. Richmond. I've done the raking up." Mr. Richmond would go outside and there'd be more leaves on the ground. Of course. It was autumn. So the leaves were continually falling. Mr. Richmond, he would shout, "You're lying. You didn't rake up the leaves." He'd then belt Chris. Went on and on like this. And towards the end of autumn, Chris, who was very bright, went out and picked from the tree all the leaves that he could reach. He then raked and got it all clean. And he went inside and then he said, "I've done it, Mr. Richmond. I've done the raking up." Didn't make any difference. Mr. Richmond said, because there were no leaves left on the ground, this simply proved Chris had been lazy every other time. We gave Chris another belting.
We have a system. We have a system. We have a system. We have a system.
Everything's in order. Everything's in order. Everything's
We have
in
a system.
order.
We have a system. System.
Everything's
System.
in
System.
order. Everything's
Follow the rules.
everything's in order.
Follow the rules.
We have a system.
Follow the rules. Follow the rules.
Everything's in order.
We have a system. We have a system. 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 System.
We will look after you. We will look after you.
We have a system. We have a system.
We will look after you.
We have a system. We have a system. System.
Follow the rules. 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 Follow the rules.
System.
Follow the rules.
System. 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 System.
We were lucky. We had a mother. Mum wrote letters to us all the time, even on the boat. And we get to different ports and there'd be a letter from Mum. And she got to Tassie and made preparations for us to come home. And she got a job and rented a house. Then she wrote to the Fairbridge Society asking them to let us out so we could live with her. And she had enormous trouble. Mum was a widow, and the Fairbridge Society didn't like single mothers bringing up children on their own. And she fought like fury. And she wrote letters and letters just so we could go home. That was the first time I really remember.
and still so small. We don't know where we'll fall. We don't know where we'll fall. How do you know where to fall when you don't know where ground is? And how do you find words to say when you don't know what sound is? All these years and still so small. We don't know where we'll fall. We don't know where we'll fall.
Thank you, everybody. I don't think there's anything else to say from us, from our point of view. So if the COMA... Well, yes, there is actually. Forgot to thank our amazing sound engineers, Marty, particularly, and then the amazing COMA crew, and I think that's everything. My mum. Thank you, Mum. And I think that's everybody. And yep, little announcement coming up.
Off you get.
I don't have a crook, but I have a microphone. That was very beautiful. Please, round of applause for her journey. Dave McAvoy, Lauren Henderson, Gemma Phillips, thank you so much. And to Dave's mum, what a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing it with us tonight. Please thank Microfiche for visiting us early this evening. Really beautiful set. Marty on sound, Ben joining him for our audio mentorship. I'd like to thank Jasmine, who's joined me on the door tonight and been such a wonderful asset. As a friend of COMA, if you would like to get more involved, we are taking submissions. If you want to sit on the door and do a clicker and give everyone the stamp, that is like, it was the highlight of tonight. But it was before people played. But everyone really enjoyed the stamp. You were all here. And then you listen to 2 great sets of music. Check out our website for Friends of COMA if you'd like to come sit next to me occasionally on the door. Thank you so much again to the Wheaty Hotel, to all of my fellow COMA committee, and to every single one of you for coming out and supporting live original music, turning up week after week. It is the most important thing. Thanks for joining us online. Next fortnight, Elson Price from Sydney and the Big Wigs Trio, it's a classic. The fortnight after that, we have emerging artists for this year, which is always a really exciting night. We've showcased 3 really exciting upcoming young musicians in our city who, if you're here at COMA in a further 10 years' time, you'll be seeing as regulars on the stage and probably on the COMA committee as well. Plenty more coming up. Grab a flyer on your way out, please. There's plenty of merch from both bands. Dave's got a bunch of stuff. It's got tote bags, so you buy a bag, you put the CDs that you buy in the bag to take with.
Anyone's welcome to a minty.
He's got minties. Way to ingratiate yourself. Free minties, CDs not free, but come see us at the door. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll let you go. Enjoy your night. We'll see you next time.